Hello, Fáilte. I haven't done a folklore video for a while, so I thought I would pop on because I've been researching this morning. I've been trying desperately all month to find somewhere within my 5K radius for the lockdown that I can actually visit that would be interesting for my Patreon on my site visit. I do a monthly site visit. And I know everybody's saying, oh, it's Corona time and you don't have to do your site visit, but I still feel that I need to do something. So I've been trying to find something within my allocated 5K. And in my research this morning, I did come across a couple of opportunities. I'm just going to share the screen. No, I share that. Bear with me. Just going to share the historic environment viewer. So this one here is a megalithic structure up at Ballygunner Temple, and it says it's situated in woodland on a slight north-facing slope, two parallel stones orientated east-west, and a displaced lintel form a rough kist, which is a burial site. And then there's two stones just adjacent to it, which form the sides of a second kist, and there's a mound adjacent to it as well. So that looked really interesting. Now, the problem that I found is it is on private land. When I tracked it down here. So let me just make sure that you can see that, because I went over to Google Maps. And I thought this would be interesting anyway to show you the process of kind of what I go through. So Mount Druid is supposed to do accommodation, but I can't find any listing or phone number or anything from them. And as far as I can tell, it's in here somewhere. So this is their private land entrance. So I'm not sure about going and knocking on somebody's house, you know, with like, normally that's what I would do, but I don't know. I don't really know what to do. And but I really would like to see what's going on over here. So we'll see. Anyway, look, if we don't get here today, then we'll see what we can do for further future. But meanwhile, I did come across an interesting story about it on Dúchas. So I'm going to read out this story, and that's your Folklore Wednesday for today. So it's about hidden treasure. This is not why I wanted to visit, by the way. I just came across this randomly and I thought it was interesting. So one of the fields in my old home is called the Lish Field. And Lish would be a name for a fairy fort. And I think that would be the reference to the mound, because it is passage east. So I'm going to say that it's in the area anyway. It might not be the same one. It's really hard to kind of pinpoint. There's a lot of mounds, there's a lot of whatever, but this one does mention Mount Druid. So now it says that his relative was from Mount Druid. So again, passage east, this could be completely different. But anyway, it's an interesting story. And before I went connecting them, I would have to do a lot more research on them. So one of the fields in my home is called the Lish Field. A particular corner of this field is never tilled, as it is a lish, so a mound. Mounds of grass-grown earth cover this particular corner. Long ago, it is said that a member of the family ploughed this corner of the Lish. He got ill that night and was very ill for a long period and was an invalid till his death a few years later. You don't fuck with the fairies, people, not in the Irish tradition. The two horses that would have been used to plough were found dead in the stable in the morning. Since then, it has never been ploughed. A relative, Edward Delahunty from Mount Druid in Waterford, died about 12 years ago, aged 86, told that the Lish had the name of containing hidden treasure. He said when he was a young man, he dreamt of the spot where it was supposed to be hidden for 3 nights. He came to my father and asked if he might examine the place, and told him that he dreamt that there was a flagstone in a certain spot, and under this was the hidden treasure. They went to the Lish and discovered the flagstone a certain number of paces from an old crab tree, just as directed. In the dream, sorry. That night, Edward Delahunty got a man named Thomas King, his sons live in this locality still, to help him to dig for the treasure. They were a long time digging before they could move the stone. they had a black cat with them. It is said a life should be given before the treasure would be yielded up. So they're going to sacrifice this black cat, just FYI, sacrifice in Irish, not even pagan tradition, right? When they had the flag sufficiently loosened to lift it, a sudden terrific storm arose around them. In the midst of it, the roar of a bull could be distinguished, and looming up out of the storm and charging at them, they could see the form of a bull. In terror, they dropped the black cat into the hole and dropped the flag over it and fled. When they got away from the lish part of the field, the night was quite calm. The next day, they were thoroughly disgusted at their cowardice and determined to try again. They tried again, but the very same thing happened, and they had to abandon the attempt. Edward Delahunty often tried to induce my father and then my brother to try for the hidden treasure, but though they both knew where the flag is, they remained sceptical. The farm is owned by Patrick Delahunty. The sound of music was said to have been heard by passers-by from the Lish on certain nights. It is by the roadside. Lights are supposed to have been seen there as well. So that one is from Gilcullen Upper in County Waterford, and the school would be Passage East. So if I actually don't think that that's the one that I was looking at. I think that the connection there is the man that lived in Mount Druitt, which is where we were looking. So like I said, there are any number of stories like this, but this one is pretty typical because you've got a life for a life, which you know, you have to make an offering or make a sacrifice to be in right relationship with whoever is guarding this treasure, whoever's sending dreams to him, whoever wants their treasure to be discovered. I would have serious questions over what kind of luck such a treasure would bring to anybody who did dig it up. I think that all of this stuff would come at a very, very steep price. So if somebody's sending dreams to some impressionable young man who has maybe some kind of psychic connection or openness or an energy awareness or something like that, I would be very, very skeptical about what cost that treasure would have, even, you know, without taking black cats into account, or, you know, being chased by giant bulls or straight off the path by fairy music. So I thought it was an interesting one. I'll put a link down below, and continue my search for a Patreon site visit, because not having much joy here, but I'll keep trying. So Slongaful. I just realized that as I was reading it out, I wasn't actually sharing the screen, so apologies for that. But like I said, I will put a link down below so you can see the text that I was reading from. So yeah, Slongaful, and I will see you in the next video.